Today's review is from one of the best breweries, certainly in Manchester, but also maybe even the UK. This is Track Brewing and a brand new beer from them called Out of Focus. It's an IPA, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we are reviewing a beer from Track called Out of Focus. It's an IPA. And basically, if you'd seen the video that I did with that horrible Brewdog beer, the King Crush rubbish, it's literally 5 minutes after I poured that down the sink. I was so annoyed with it, and I thought I didn't have any other beer in the fridge. I was really disappointed. And I thought, it's Friday night, I can't not have a beer. I was only going to have one because I'm trying to cut down a little bit now anyway. But I thought it's ruined my whole night if I don't have anything else, because I literally had about 3 sips of it and poured it away. So I went to my local little bar that's called Bluestone in Chester. It's a little sort of bar. It's like a very small, it's like a front lounge, but they do beers in there to take away as well. So I went in there to see what they've got, and I picked up this beer. Track. It's got all the hops I like. It's IPA, Citra Incognito, Nelson and Rakow. It's a 6.8%. There's no adjuncts. There's no rubbish. They're a very good brewery, so let's crack it open, get it in a glass, and see what it's all about. I'm looking forward to this now. I thought I was disappointed in my last review, and I thought, am I going to get a beer that's going to... If there's a beer that I think is going to do it, I think this will do it, because it's got great hops in it. It's Track, so, you know, and they make great beers. And New Zealand hops, it's bound to be great, isn't it? Well, beer in a glass. We've got a very light yellow coloured beer, and it's light in it's light yellow, and it's also quite light. If you look at the bottom there, that's almost like, you know, you can almost see light coming through there. It's like custard, but a very light version of it. I've seen a beer like that. It looks more like what you get something from, like, say, a pale ale. 2 fingers, white, very white head, very compacted on the top. Well, there's quite a few loose bubbles around the side there. So I think that might stick around a little bit. So, I mean, it's at the moment, I'm not nervous because it's Track. You know, they make good beers, good hops. Why would it be bad? But I'd expected something a little bit thicker for a 6.8% IPA. But let's see what the aroma's like. New Zealandish. Lots of that real crunchy apple pear, gooseberry, white wine, obviously the white grape, kiwi fruit, lemons, grapefruits, guava, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I never get bored of it. I think at the moment I get bored of a New Zealand hopped beer, it's the moment I'll get bored of drinking craft beer. So let's drink it, shall we? Cheers, everyone. Well, what's interesting about this beer is that it's really potent in terms of its flavour. Like the aroma, it's got all the flavours like the aroma. Big hits of white wine, gooseberry, you've got melon coming through, you've got grapefruit, and you've got all other lemons and lime citrus fruits. Lots of flavour, and it's very, for an IPA, 6.8%, it's very refreshing. It's very citrusy, you know, heavy, really. The thing is about it that is different, I'd almost say it's different, whether it detracts from the quality of the beer, is it's a very, very light and very sort of thin for an IPA. Usually these sort of IPAs, you'd expect a little bit more sort of smoothness, a little bit more of that, a little bit more gloopy, sort of velvety mouthfeel. And even though the carbonation is soft, it's quite light. It almost tastes it's almost a little thin in its mouthfeel, which I don't know whether it's just the way that it's been brewed, probably is. But you just don't expect it from this sort of beer. You're expecting something a little bit more medium bodied, but you're not getting it. But you're not detracting anything from the flavour. it still tastes really good. And obviously after that last one I've had, it's a bit like the Amber Nectar really. Very strong in its flavour. You're getting quite a lot of that sort of lemongrassy sort of flavour coming through as well. Weedy, a little bit dank. And that flavour sort of sits there and it sort of like coats all the mouth. But it is quite thin, so it doesn't coat it in a way that's unpleasant really. It's a very good beer. It's a typical Track beer. Yes, I've had lots better from Track. It's not, I don't think it's quite up there with some of their best. I think it's just the mouthfeel. I mean, I think some people might like that, some people might not. The flavour's there, it's soft on the mouth, but it's just, it needs a little bit more body. It needs more oats and wheat in it. I don't even know if it's got oats. It has got oats and wheat in it, so, but it just tastes like it's the way that it's been brewed. It's all, I tell you what it reminds me a little bit of, put it down there. What it reminds me of is some of those recent beers that I've had from Daya. Now, Daya are always about their sort of velvety mouthfeel. And that was a big thing for Daya beers. But recently, I think it's only down to the fact that they've obviously brewed stuff slightly differently. And then they're more like this. They're more a little bit on that thin, watery side in terms of the mouthfeel. And they don't quite have the oomph, that velvety creaminess that they used to have. And I think that's made them worse. And I don't know why that is. Maybe they think that the taste of, the craft beer drinkers want something a little bit lighter, a little bit more refreshing, less heavy of an IPA. But to me, if that's the case, then those drinkers should be drinking like pale ales, really, because that's what you're going to get with a pale ale. This has a body of a good pale ale, not quite an IPA. But the flavour's there, and it's full of flavour. There's lots of complexity, lots of those sort of citrusy, heavy sort of flavours, but also grape and gooseberry and melon and guava and all that sort of stuff as well. So if you like all of that stuff, if you like New Zealand hot beers, then you'll like it. But I think you're just probably wanting a little bit more body with the beer. So hope you've enjoyed this video. I've nearly forgotten. I'm just so excited about going to sit down and enjoy the rest of this that I need to do the scores. So let's get the scores. Okay, the scores are in for Out of Focus. This is a IPA from Track, 6.8%. It's got Citra Incognito in it. I'm not quite sure what Citra Incognito brings to it. There's Citra, there's Citrus BBC, Citra Spectrum, Citra something else, Citra Incognito. There's lots of, it's the way that the pellets are sort of comes out basically. I'm not quite sure what Incognito are, whether they're liquid pellets or whatever they are, but there's less, I think, of the citrus flavours because it also got Nelson, Sauvin and Rakow, and that's what the flavours are all about. There is quite a lot of citrus in there to cover those sort of New Zealand flavours. But again, sometimes Citra can sometimes literally be a citrus and tropical, but there's not really tropicalness in there. But it tastes good. But anyway, I've talked about that before. Let's go through the scores, starting with aroma. Appearance. Flavour. Value for money. I didn't say how much it was. This was about just about £5. So for a Track beer, that's not too bad. And finally, my overall experience. Tighten the scores up. Well, we get a recommended beer, but it's at the higher level of the recommended, not quite highly recommended. As I said, I have drank better Track beers than this. A little bit thin in the mouthfeel that for me, my own personal experience of it, is I would prefer a little bit more of a medium body. I think that would make it a better beer, but it's refreshing, it's light, and it's got loads of flavour in it, and that's what you want, especially this time of year. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Total score, I think I've already done that, haven't I? It's a good beer. Go and buy it. But this beer might not be available if you go and see a Track beer, but go and buy Track because generally they are in that, they're certainly my top 10, maybe even my top 5 breweries in the UK. They are very, very good at what they do, and I think their double IPAs is really their sweet spot, but their IPAs are still good. So, hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Let me know what you think of Track. Have you ever had a bad Track beer? Let me know in the comments. And until the next one, you know what you do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.